Welcome to the place where we learn about and learn from the leaders in our field who are powering creativity. I'm Aaron Dworkin, and this is Arts Engines. Thanks again for joining me here on Arts Engines. Today's guest is Michelle Cann, who serves as the inaugural Christel DeHaan Artistic Partner of the American Piano Awards and is a Grammy Award-Winning pianist. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. So great to be here.
Well, I'm so excited to talk to you. And of course, I would be very remiss if I did not add that we've been able to have a wonderful opportunity to collaborate and partner in many ways, not the least of which is you being one of the recipients of the highest honor the Sphinx organization bestows, the Sphinx Medal of Excellence. So I'm just so excited to talk to you. And especially, recently coming off of the Grammy Awards and receiving a Grammy. So I feel like that's just important to start there and just, ask, what does it feel like to be a Grammy Award-winning artist?
Well, it's so funny because on one level, I've seen others that have won Grammys that I really admire and, just been so proud of them and excited. But there's nothing like that moment where they call your album or they call your name. And that is what I reflect on. When I was at the Grammys and when they got to our category, the classical solo vocal category, which I'm on the album with Karen Slack. Another really fun note was that we were chosen for the same cohort of Sphinx Medal of Excellence, the exact same year, actually. And it was after that, actually, that we started to collaborate together and got to know each other more. So really pretty cool, actually. But at any rate, we're sitting there and they're going through all the different names in that category. And I mean, these are great vocalists. I mean, Joyce DiDonato, Will Liverman, and Nicholas Fon, and so many other names that are, of course, great in this field. And I remember hearing all the different names and saying, yeah, we're not going to win. Because you always think this. It's just like, how could you? And again, I mean, for every level, we all deserve to be there. We're all very proud to be there, just to be nominated. But it was so funny when Wayne Brady, who was the host for our category, all I heard was Beyond. And that was it. I just sort of jumped up and, I always said I wouldn't be like overreacting, but I absolutely jumped out of my seat like, we won. It was pretty funny. And, and ran up to Karen. She was sitting in a different spot and we hugged first. So anyway, it truly was and is, it will be remembered as just a really great moment in time. And again, we're so proud really for what this album stands for. This is actually, this was interesting because I looked at the history of this award in the classical solo vocal category. This is the first time that anyone's won the award that's, Black female performers playing a Black female composer. That has not happened. Actually, Leontine Price, not related to Florence Price, but Leontine Price was, of course, a great singer and vocalist. She won the award, I want to say 11 Grammys or something ridiculous in her lifetime. And I looked through and she won with standard rep almost every single time. And that was interesting. Of course, there's more to that. It's, the times and everything else. But, you've had these great Black vocalists win, but not with a Black female composer. And so for us, that's everything. Just the fact that Florence Price, that's the first time her name has shown up in that category. And I hope it's not the last.
Totally. Just literally feeling your joy and passion for this work that you do and your creativity and your artistry. It is so exciting, so exciting. And so now, in addition to all of this amazing work that you do, you also have this wonderful role at American Pianist Awards, one of our great, wonderful creative partners, and especially co-curating for this show. And you have this role as the inaugural Christel DeHaan Artistic Partner. And wondering if you could kind of just share a little more of what's involved in that, and of course the Pianist Awards.
Oh, absolutely. So this has really been fascinating for me to be involved. I mean, it's a multi-year involvement because, the Piano Awards start out first trying to identify, frankly, nominators, and that's a huge pool that we have to reach out to. One of the things I was really proud of in this particular the cohort that we have was that when we, along with Chris Williams, who of course is the CEO, when we actually were talking about reaching out to a pool, we were very, very intentional. We had found that because American Awards is completely anonymous. So for those that don't know, the way it actually ends up is that recordings are submitted by pianists without a name. There's a number assigned to that pianist, and that is it. You do not know the gender, the name, or the race, or anything. And it's all, of course, audio, so no video. So you're listening to all these tapes, the judges that we've chosen, and then they have to choose the top 5. Now, in this, most of the time, it has been majority men, sometimes all male pianists. And again, on one hand, you could say, well, it's anonymous, so it's not, a purposeful thing. That is true. At the same time, it's about statistics, right? So you've got to get a pool of nominees, essentially, who are very diverse, race, gender, and everything. And so we went out of our way to try to reach out to as many types of leaders in the field as we could to encourage nominations of pianists of, the entire sector. And we're so proud because there are 3 females, or actually more females than males in this cohort. And again, anonymous. But we're proud because it shows that these things work, that if you're reaching out to that broader pool, that difference can be made. So that's how it started. And again, this was over a year ago. And now we're almost at the finish line. It's very exciting. In my work, I mean, I was part of trying to figure out the pool of the nominators. I was also part of deciding on the judges that we will have. Again, a very thoughtful process that I had with Chris about just having, it is diverse in many ways, but also just really capable judges and leaders in the piano field, people who we felt would really look at the bigger picture of each pianist, because this is not a regular competition. Usually you show up and it's only about that moment in time and how well you played that day or whatever it is. These pianists that we chose, these 5, they have to go through so many different types of things. They've already given recitals, each at different times in Indianapolis. They played with the chamber orchestra in Indianapolis. That will be judged. They have they will have to do a chamber music performance with the Dover Quartet. They will have to play more, we like to call it almost a cabaret style, a little different, intimate style of music in Indianapolis, and of course play a concerto with orchestra and the solo round. They have so many different aspects of them that will be judged. And so in the end, that winner will not just be the one who played the best concerto or played the best chamber work. It's got to be the one who showed themselves as a fully well-rounded pianist and artist that could really excel in all areas. And I know you know this, Erin, that in the field, in our field, the ones who really do, make it to the top and have the careers are never a one-trick pony.
Ever, absolutely. It's so extraordinary. And again, seeing the passion, the joy that you have, seeing, and especially the impact, for those, and especially those who go on, to the final rounds, and just seeing the impact you're able to have on their careers. And I loved how you talked about, and especially today as people are thinking about how to be inclusive and all of these things, but looking and saying, look, if we build a diverse pool, if we're inclusive in the pool of candidates who know about what we're doing, surprise, surprise, our results based entirely on merit end up being diverse, right? So it's so absolutely, and just seeing
I
that.
have to clap. That's something Sphinx does well, you know.
Yes, of course, absolutely. Well, this is so awesome. I could, of course, talk to you for hours and hours and hours, but unfortunately, we are just about out of time. But I always like to ask of all of my guests, your creativity and your passion, so on and so forth. It seems like there isn't, but there must be some days that are challenging or where it feels like there's an obstacle in front of you that's almost impossible to overcome. Just wondering, in those, for our audience members who might experience that, do you have anything you do or any mechanisms you have that help you through the toughest of times and or over an obstacle that might seem insurmountable?
That's such a great question, Aaron. And you're absolutely right. It is easy to kind of look from the outside in and just see, all of us pushing and working, and we seem like this unstoppable force, right? But of course, we're all human and have multiple moments like these, not even just one. For me, I have to say, what helps me when I get to places where there's two things, I would say two main things that help me when I'm feeling sort of overwhelmed or feeling like this obstacle, how will I meet this goal? That happens a lot with just like repertoire and in concerts coming up. So there's two things that help. One for me is that I try in those moments, I try to take a step back. I don't even allow myself sometimes to look too far ahead in my calendar because I know that it's there. I know there's a lot coming up. I get it. But if I focus too much on all the things, then I can't even function that day to day. So there's times where I literally live in each day. I look at that day, I look at that week, and I say, okay, these are the goals I have for this week. This is the goal I have for today. And then I allow myself, and this is very important because some people don't even allow themselves to do this. I allow myself to take breaks when I need them. And in other words, I do it without putting guilt or or any of these negative emotions on myself. I say, okay, today I'm going to disconnect and I'm just going to take this day and I'm going to, go to the beach or whatever, things like this. And I am not going to feel guilty about this. I'm not going to let myself say, I have a concert next week, I should be practicing, and it's like, I can't do that. I allow myself to do it. And that mix of things where I can focus on the day-to-day sometimes when it's overwhelming, and then giving myself the permission, another way of saying it, to take moments for myself without guilt, without like, oh, now I really have to pay for that day I took, really helps me.
Michelle Cann, you truly are one of the arts engines who is powering human creativity in our world. Thank you so much that you do for audiences. Thank you so much you do for our community. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much.